Why didn't he help Niger? Why didn't he help Burkina Faso? Why didn't he help Chad? It's been there forever. Their troops have been there forever. You think it didn't help them with all their bases? It's going to help you? Steve, let's wake up. Only Nigeria can help itself by liberating itself from these colonial forces that are doing nothing but stirring trouble in the Sahel. Doing nothing but stirring trouble in the Sahel. So for anybody to think France is coming to help us with security is deluding himself. The biggest problem we will have is this. And this is what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his misfiring of how to handle the situation after the coup in Niger is the one increasing more insecurity coming to Nigeria. Because Niger and Chad and Cameroon, they've been doing a lot of heavy lifting on our behalf, fighting Boko Haram and bandits and ISWAP. Now, you're not going to talk to them, you're fighting them, they lift their feet off the brakes, and these guys roll in. France is not going to help you with that. The only thing that will help you with this Lakurawa nonsense, this uptick we are seeing in Lakurawa is suspect. I'll tell you. I had the other day the spokesperson of the defense headquarters in Nigeria saying, in his press briefing, say Lakurawas, they are new, they are related to the coup in Niger. Hello, Mr. Spokesperson, you should know better. These Lakurawa, as we know today, have been around in this country, a sovereign Nigeria, non-state actors from Mali or from wherever came to Nigeria. They've been here for 7 years. 7 years, since 2017, at the invitation of local communities to help them fight bandits, to help them do the job that security services could not do. They came under the nose of the federal government, under the nose of the state government, under the nose of all security services, under the nose of all our intelligence services. And now all of a sudden we are doing this. The question to ask Nigerians should be asking is, why did we allow a non-state actor to come into Nigeria, settle, and continue its activities for the past 7 years? And why all of a sudden are we saying, oh, Lakurawa, 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 just to give a reason for France to come in? That is the only reason. Fellow Nigerians, you can never stop this Lakurawa, Boko Haram, and all these bandits, all these terrorists, if you don't have good relationship with your neighbors. Not France. Bringing France in is going to make us into a hotbed for terrorism, is going to make us poorer, is going to make us second-class citizens. They will open a base in Katsina State and be digging our gold, and I cannot go there as a person from Katsina. We've seen that in Niger, we've seen that in Mali. This is what they have been doing. So fellow Nigerians, we should open our eyes. We in the north will vigorously resist any attempt by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government to allow foreign military bases on our soil. End of story. I don't know how else to say it.
Okay, Professor Usman. Now, Professor Usman, you know, you did say that if we allow France in, that Nigeria can become a hotbed for terrorism, but some people would argue that it already is, that, you know, that the northern governors, for example, have not focused on human capital development, that, you know, we have extremism in different parts of the country, that the economic situations right now is what makes Nigeria a hotbed for terrorism and not a possible growing trade relation with France, but also focusing on the geopolitical implications that Shaitan brought into the conversation earlier. We did speak about Russia, and we also have to speak about the Wagner Group, because you spoke about the proxy war going on in Ukraine between Russia and the West. However, some people argue that there is a proxy war going on in Africa between Russia and the West. We have the Wagner Group in Mali, in Niger, in Burkina Faso. They have, of course, rebranded from the Wagner Group, but they are under the Russian military core. And you also had France in those countries. As of February of this year, we also had Russia being in control of Mali's Intaka gold mine. So we do have Russian interests in Western Africa in our minds. And so is it not already a situation that our neighbors are dealing with their own proxy wars and extraction of their resources by these either Russia or the West? And rather than be in that type of situation, our president is trying to position us as a trade partner and not a partner to be extracted from.
Trade partner, how much is he getting from France? 750 million, they say, investment by Total. For goodness sake, that's paltry sum for a country like Nigeria. The other day they went to Qatar. How much did they say they got? 600 million, and Qatar denied that. The other day, Saudi Arabia, they said 800 million. All of these investments, less than $1 billion for a country like Nigeria. This is paltry. Why is Nigeria not attracting the big investment that it is worthy of? A Nigeria that has a very large population, a Nigeria that is very rich, a Nigeria that has a very educated population. Why are we not attracting big investment? So to tell me you went to France and got 750 million, that's an insult. Or Saudi Arabia 800 million, or Qatar 600 million. The president himself, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, demarketed Nigeria twice in Doha. Remember when they went, he said there is corruption. And he warned the Qatari delegates, if anybody asks you for a bribe, come and tell me. Hello, Mr. President. Thank you for demarketing your country. And at G20, you heard what he was saying. There is insecurity, there is hunger, there is this, there is this. You are the chief marketing officer of your country, and you are demarketing the country. I will tell you, real countries that want to invest, they invest in DR Congo and all troubled spots. They factor in all these crises, and they even get insurance for all of this to come into place and pillage the country and leave. So, real investment, we want to see real investment that translate into bettering the lives of our people. We haven't seen that so far. All the loans they've been getting, the World Bank loans, the Chinese loan, where are we seeing that? It's not impacted on the people. It's not helped the Naira. It's not brought inflation down. But they're getting loans all over the place. Just a few days ago, they got a loan of 2.2 billion. They got approval from the House, from the Senate, from the National Assembly. It took only 48 hours for the do-nothing National Assembly to give him approval, go and get loans. For what? For what? He is proposing a bill of 47.9 billion. And the collection agencies that make money, they said they have collected 51 trillion so far. So far. So why are you getting all this money? To do what? He gets all these loans, and the National Assembly does not ask him what are these loans for, and we do not see the benefit. So we must question, especially in a situation where we're worried there's a state capture by the president and his business associates that we do not. You see them signing MOUs in France. On whose behalf? On whose behalf? Definitely not on my behalf, not on my grandmother's behalf. They are not in government. Nobody knows about these guys. You see them signing on behalf of Nigeria. State capture. You have your business associates running this country. Nobody can tell me how much FIRS has collected, or how much customs, or how much this, or how much this. Nobody knows what comes in, what goes out. And the reason is because our National Assembly is complicit, is there in bed with this bad governance. This cannot continue. We must all wake up. Investment from France is not going to solve our problem. Get investment wherever you're going to get investment. But we are very nervous with this love fest between our president and France and its prime minister. It's a harbinger of bad things to come because of France's history around us. And we cannot trust France or any country without security. Doing that will be foolhardy. And you said, yes, there is insecurity in the north. It's going to get much worse with France around. They want to go and fight, let them go and do their own fighting. We will solve our problems here.
Professor Yusuf, let me...
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Let me just move the conversation in a different direction. You've made reference to the 10th National Assembly, and we know about these tax reforms that have passed the second reading. But then we're continuing to see this northern resistance to the reform bills that were proposed by President Bola Tinubu, and it's continued to spark a significant opposition, particularly from northern Nigeria, where we see these economic challenges and a largely informal economy dominate. While some argue that Nigeria needs these reforms to reduce its fiscal deficits, others worry that they could stifle economic activity and growth. Do you have any concerns about this resistance? And how can the government balance this urgent need for revenue generation, which is a problem that we have, with fostering an environment that supports a business expansion and job creation on the back of these tax reforms?
Right. So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is essentially bringing the Lagos model to the big stage. What was the Lagos model? Tax, 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 tax. You cannot overtax your citizens to a level that they cannot pay. You've removed subsidy, you've made them poorer. You've floated the naira, you've devalued the currency. People are poorer. Why are you taxing them? What you need to do is to broaden the tax base instead of overtaxing citizens. Number one. Number two, people will say, oh, those that are against this tax bill, they haven't even read the tax bill. Hello. It is not the responsibility of citizens to go and read. It is the responsibility of the executive, the government, that is going to bring any policy to people to come and sensitize and explain to them and get their approval. You cannot just pay hired consultants. They go into their room, bring out an encyclopedia of this is how we want to do the tax, and throw it to the National Assembly and rush it. I tell you, 99% of the members of the Senate, of all the National Assembly members, have not read the bill. Nobody has time to read this bill. So essentially, all this brouhaha you're seeing, I took time to read it because I talk all over the place. Some of it is good, but hello. The biggest problem is that there is loss of trust. Nigerians don't trust this government. The last time you did, Mr. President, you flippantly removed fuel subsidy. You flippantly floated the naira and said tomorrow will be better. Our people are dying. Tomorrow is not better. Yesterday was better than today or tomorrow. People don't trust this government. Number one. Number two. Number two is that this government, in spite of its over-bloated media team of about 13 advisors, they are not connecting with the people. They are not. They think they will stay in Abuja and talk all the big grammar in $1,000 suits and think people will listen to them. They are not connecting with the people. And you could see that in the NSA's speech the other day, 13th of November, his Tinubu Gain speech. You could clearly see his frustration that the government is not connecting with the people. That was why he was saying, oh, critics, we will shut you up. We want to be shut up with facts, with benefits for our people, not propaganda. So the government is not connecting with the people. The government has not explained this to the people. Members of the National Assembly do not even understand the bill themselves. And look at the clumsy way it was presented at the Senate the other day. Look at the clumsy way it was presented. Akpabio thinks he's going to be clever by half, recused himself, and put his deputy Senate president, who is from the north, oh yeah, fight your people.
Professor Yusuf,
yep.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time. You know, anytime we have you on here, the time goes by very quickly. But we'll have to nip this in the bud for today and hopefully have you on in the near future. We appreciate your time and analysis, as always, on The Morning Show.